Hey, welcome back, Rise Up Nation. We're here for another episode of Rise Up in Real Estate, and we're right in season number 7 of Rise Up in Real Estate. I can't believe we were just talking about that. I can't believe we made it this long. And we're going to go off the tracks today. We're going to go a little bit off the rails. You know, this is a non-branded opportunity for us to get together and hang out. But today, I'm going to be proud to say I'm going to give the first of 3 installments of a look at what's going on at Remax. And I'm really, really lucky to have the guests I'm going to have on for the next 3 weeks. I'm going to let you see them, talk to them, get to know them. And we're doing this in the beginning of August in 2025, just to go on the record as to what we are. And we're in coastal South Carolina is where we are. But today I have Chris Lim, and I'm actually meeting Chris like face-to-face for the first time. He's the chief executive vice president and the chief growth officer at Remax. And I want to say welcome, Chris, to the show. Welcome to Remax. Welcome to whatever you've been doing for the last several months, man, because you've been out there doing it, haven't you?
We've been running hard. It's such a pleasure to meet you. I'm a huge fan of your show, so thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. You were saying it's Series 7. It's 7's my lucky number, so it's going to be a good season for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was born on the 7th.
Oh, 7th of what month?
February.
You know what? I was February 4th.
Whoa, see?
Yeah.
We're both Aquarius, if you believe in that.
Yeah, I know that somebody listening to this will make a comment or statement about that, I'm sure, at some point. Well, Chris, thank you for being on the show. And, I was telling a friend of mine recently when I found out I was going to have the opportunity to talk to you that we've been around, my wife and I have owned Remax franchise since 2007. We have several offices now and a bunch of agents. And for the first time, really, in my memory, we have like access to someone like you. And I know the cool thing is I can already tell in a minute of talking to you that someone like you doesn't resonate with you. Like you don't feel like prestige, like you're in the top seat at a huge organization. And that's what I love about you. What I want to do, though, is find out, can you tell me just a tiny bit of your bio? Like, I read it, but I want our listeners to hear it from you. Like, where are you from, and how did this all happen with you being now at Remax?
Of course, yeah, it's kind of a cool story. Real estate is in my blood. My dad was a home builder right outside New York City. My mom was a real estate agent for many, many years. Unfortunately, she wasn't a very successful real estate agent. She was an incredible mom, but she tried her best. And so I learned a lot from her sort of journey as a real estate agent. And then my sister is actually a home stager in Northern California. So it's sort of like who I am. I've been in real estate for 23 years. I've been licensed in California. I was a realtor for many years. I led a team. That team became Climb Real Estate. And then I sold Climb Real Estate to Anywhere in 2016. I had the great pleasure of kind of working within sort of that Realogy Anywhere framework. I got to work on Corcoran. I got to work on Better Homes and Gardens. And then I actually launched Climb as a national franchise. COVID kind of happened. I went back to California. And then I ended up having the good fortune of working with Thad Wong over at App Properties. So moved myself to Chicago, where I was able to lead the expansion of App Properties to 7 states. And then that led to the acquisition of Christie's International Real Estate. So I was the president of that brand, that global network for many years before coming here. But I'm a realtor in my heart, in my blood. It's who I am. It's what I do. So it's been a full circle, but I feel like I get to talk to people like you, and we're one and the same, right? We have a passion for people. We have a passion for the business. So yeah, it's been great.
That's cool. When did you darken the doors at Remax headquarters in Denver? Who did you know? How did that whole process? If that's not too much private information,
Nope.
Chris.
No, it's not. It's a great question. It's really funny because I actually met Dave and Gail many years ago when I was thinking about selling Climb. And I went very far with them because I had a ton of respect for Dave, the legacy of the brand. And so unfortunately the time wasn't sort of the time for me to be part of Remax wasn't then. But I walked away with a great respect for the organization and the thought that someday I would be here. And here I am.
That's neat. And how long have you been with Remax? We're in August now of 2025. When did you start? Your official start date?
Correct. Officially was February.
That is incredible to me, because here I am, just a little old broker owner in the network. I don't know how many of us there are now. There's a bunch, but you have. I can't remember Remax before you. If that says anything about how consistent you've been with being present, and I appreciate your visibility. But I have to ask you this, Chris. Like, I appreciate you so much talking. I can tell you have a real affinity with your mother. Like, she's really important to you, right?
Yeah.
Because who would say she wasn't a very good realtor, but she's a great mom? And that's I've got 6 children, so I know that's number one job, and I get that. But
it is the number one job.
Where in the world do you live? Like, if that's not the street and the address, but like, I see you in Hawaii, I see you in Minnesota, I see you out in Chicago, all over the place. Where do you live now, and why in the world are you traveling around so much?
Yeah, it's a great question. I feel like when you are part of a network, you need to be in the network in order to understand a network. And so my job is really to meet as many people as possible in the network. And one of the things I think that I bring to this job is that I actually have sold real estate. I've been a successful broker. I've been a successful agent. I've run a team. And so when we started working on this network with this, Travis and Eric and Daniel and Don, and the incredible team here at Remax, I realized very quickly that I needed to get out into the field and see the people who make up this incredible network of 147,000 agents in 110 countries. And so, that is why, it's my job, it's my passion, but like, it's how I had to figure out where I am. But I'm very fortunate. I'm a big believer in real estate. So I own a lot of real estate because I think it's created generational wealth for myself. And I'm a big believer, if you're in the business, you need to own what you sell. And so I'm lucky to have homes kind of a little bit of everywhere. So yeah, it makes it easy.
Yeah, that's neat. I didn't mean to be. 3 minutes in, I asked you that question, but I just really, from my perspective, I respect it. It just doesn't normally happen where somebody in your position, and I love this, is on the ground like you appear to be, where I'm assuming all these people that you're going, and I should say for the audience that's listening, on Instagram is where I'm seeing you in different listings. Like, hey, I'm going to be. Oh, you were just in Hawaii. I know there was a Remax Hawaii just came on board, or something happened there, and you were at a listing, a $4.5 million listing, showing it with the listing agent. I'm assuming that's not your home or your best friend. You're just trying to get to know the network. Is that correct? That's
right. That's totally right. We're very fortunate to have just launched with Hawaii. They're the newest member of our incredible network. They're great broker owners, and I've gotten to know the agents of that firm. And so the first thing I did was, we were there for the grand opening, and I went and saw a bunch of listings, met with a lot of the top teams. I want to know the inventory. I want to know the top teams. I want to know the agents. So it's a passion. So it's easy, right? It's not a job for me. I get to go and see these extraordinary homes in Hawaii. Like that. That's not work for me. So it's very fortunate. So
and I've seen you in Minnesota, different places. And let me be the first to invite you to our neck of the woods whenever you want to. Whenever that, I don't know if you own a house out this way or not, but you can stay in one of our rooms, or you can come and stay and you look at some of our listings. We would be proud to be part of that journey that you're on, for sure. Well,
when I come knocking at your door, don't be surprised, because I love that part of the world. I love Myrtle Beach, Charleston, South Carolina. I went to college in Virginia, so I'm a huge fan of that area. I have a home in Miami Beach. So yeah, I'm really close.
That's awesome. Well, I can't wait to do that. We'll show you the Southern hospitality that you deserve when you're out here. So we're excited about that. So I always ask every guest that I have on the show, and I'll give you can answer it now, or you might have already answered it, quite frankly, because I could guess what it is. But if you want to answer it later, you can. What would you say is your superpower, Chris? Like, what do you bring to the table that you just think, and people hate, especially introverted, quiet, successful people hate answering this question, which I think you're all three of those. Like, what is it about you that makes you successful, or what's your secret sauce, or what nobody else can do that Chris can do? Is there anything that you can think of?
Oh, I think so, for sure. I think it's because of where I'm from. So I'm from New Jersey, right out 28 miles outside of New York City. And when you're from New Jersey, you're not quite New York City. And so you're always second best. And so I think that my superpower is drive. You know, I may not be the smartest. I may not be the best looking. I may not be a lot of things, but I can tell you, I will always show up and give 100%. And I think that comes from being from New Jersey, where you have this grit, you have this drive, you have this hustle that is like nowhere in the world. So I think I really lend that to being where I'm from.
That's interesting. Is that like I have never heard that perspective. Is that like a New Jersey chip on your shoulder kind of thing that you're just not?
For sure.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
Man, now we have a lot of people
Definitely.
from New York and New Jersey that buy property here. So I now
I
have
know.
something to talk to them about. That's exciting.
That's right. Yeah. I don't know if it's for everybody, but for me, that's how I see the world, because it's like you're sort of you're close. You're really close to New York City. You're really close to the action, but you're just right outside. So I really think that was formative. I think that kind of was narrative that changed who I was, because I realized it was like, you're not quite there and you want to be there. So every day I wake up striving to be the best I can be, and to deliver and to work as hard as I can to make it happen.
That's cool. I bet I could do a whole show on your routine. I bet you have a pretty crystal clear morning routine, and I bet you've got a pattern to your life. Is that true? You're nodding like it is.
It is. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's important, right? Routine, practice, a lot of different things wherever you are in your life, right? And also gratitude, right? I know that that's big for you. I'm really grateful for the life that I have, and the opportunities. And I also say the universe makes no mistakes. So there's a particular reason why I'm here, and there's a job I'm here to do. And I'm excited to show up every day and do the best I can.
Yeah. Well, let me say from a broker owner's perspective, not knowing you very well, we're proud to have you. And I'm proud to see what you're doing already. I'm proud to be a part of whatever support we can give to make you as successful as possible, to make us as successful as possible. Eventually, it trickles down to making the consumer as successful as possible. That's our ultimate goal. So thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I was bummed that you weren't at Broker Owner Conference this year, because I think it was palatable, the excitement and what we're building, which is really led by the vision of Eric Carlson. It's really coming to life. And for me, it was excited to see the agents, the broker owners really sort of lean in and get on board with what we're building.
Yeah, well, that's a great segue. And I do. So I've known Eric since he's been the first time he walked on stage, which when he did that the very first time, probably much like what you did, I would never, being a past performer, but didn't envy it at all. Because here's the guy that everybody's watching every word, like literally everything he said, every mannerism, I heard it all. But I've been so proud of where he's come, like how far he's journeyed. And there was never a doubt about his intellect, his ability to lead. But in this environment, it's like you've been in a long time. It's a dog eat dog world. And if you're not going to make everybody happy, so you got to make yourself and the consumer happy. But you did a very good transition there. I don't know if this is fair to call this or not, because I've been with Remax a little while, like since 2007 or 6. One of my friends, Jennifer Lovett, in Florida.
In Stuart, Florida. Yeah.
Stuart, Florida.
We love her.
To me, just in passing, she said, I really feel like, and her mother, they're 45 years old, their brokerages, and the whole brand is only 50 something. So they've been around a while.
2 years. Yeah. And
she's running a successful operation down there. She said to me, I really feel like that Remax, it's like the renaissance of Remax. And I don't know that is perfectly matched, because I read about what is a renaissance and what, how that all worked. When she said it, I was digging into those terms. I'm not sure it's exactly right, but what it said to me was that there's like, we're going to remember what's great about the past, and we're going to make it stand out now in the future. And I thought it was a perfect analogy. So what I wanted to ask you is this, like, I'm calling this little series that I have with you and Travis and Daniel, like the awakening of the original industry disruptor. And not that we needed waking up. Let me be clear that we were leading already. Per agent transaction was phenomenal. Number of agents was great. But now here you and Eric and this team are in the middle of this, whatever we're going to call it. Let's call it the Renaissance of Remax. I want to know specifically what your role is as Executive Vice President and Chief Growth Officer. What are you tasked to do, and how does that fit into Eric's mission, if you will?
Yep. That's a great question. So first of all, I want to shout out to Jen. I got to meet her in Stuart, Florida. She was at BOC. She was telling me her story about her mom buying a franchise from Remax in 1980, how it's been a family business. So it was very heartwarming for me because it's very similar to the story that I have with my mom and getting into the business. And she said that exactly that, right? It's a renaissance happening at Remax, and you can feel it. That was the great part about what happened in Washington, D.C. You could see it. It was palatable how people were seeing that it is definitely different. And it is. It really is truly different. And I'm proud to be part of that. And, I'd like to say it started with me, but it really didn't. It started really with Eric Carlson's vision about what this company is possible. I tell people all the time, Remax is the biggest opportunity in real estate right now. And it's why I joined. I think a lot of people were surprised. A lot of my background has been in luxury real estate. I ran Christie's. I've been selling $1 million properties for much of my career, being in the San Francisco Bay Area. But I saw the opportunity here, and I knew I needed to be a part of it, right? And that started, the demarcation was really R4 with the new logo. And when we launched that, and I came in shortly, I was announced with that. And with Travis Saxon and the people that you're having on the show after me, right? That's really the biggest opportunity. And I feel like that's why I'm here. That's why growth is part of my title. I wanted to be Chief Growth Officer because I'm here to grow the brand. I'm here to create more opportunities, help agents win more listings, right? Save more time. And most of all, helping broker owners return to profitability. That's our mission. It's very clear why I'm here, what we're here. And every day we wake up with that sort of those principles in mind of what we're going to do. So yeah, it's a cool time here at Remax.
Yeah. Tell me from your perspective, and this is just your opinion. Nobody's going to hold you to it, or maybe everybody will. I don't know. Tell me the strength of what you like. Why did you take this opportunity? You were really successful already. You had quite a niche. You had obviously, people don't just sell their businesses a couple of times. You just mentioned it like no big deal. Like you were really successful before, but why do you think this is the biggest opportunity? Is it the size of the network? Is it the age of it? What in your opinion is that?
Oh, it's everything. It starts with, Eric always says, people, process, brand. Right. And I think we've got an incredible team here, but it's also the size, right? I have the ability to impact and work with 147,000 agents in 110 countries. Like that's a dream opportunity for me to be able to, that's like a vision scaled, right? So I love what Dave and Gail built. And for me to be a part of that and to have that kind of impact, that's why I'm here.
That's really cool. That's a goosebump way of describing it. I love the way I can feel it. Like you said, it's palatable. I love that word. I don't know that I've ever said that word out loud, but I can feel it when I talk to you, and you are genuinely passionate about the scalability. It would scare most people to death, Chris. Let's be honest, but we've got the right guy in the seat because you thrive on it. And I think I should congratulate you. Didn't we just hit most agents we've ever had, or some milestone as a brand?
Yes. We did. Yeah. It's all there, right? It's like, it's now we've got the right people, and now, Eric is very process oriented. So he's helping us build the right process, and we've got an incredible brand, right? I mean, how lucky are we to work with the most trusted, most professional brand in the world, right? So to me, it's like, and then, what we've done with the logo and the branding and putting the agent in the middle of the brand, it's genius. Right. So I'm really proud to be part of this movement, this renaissance, what we're building, and to be building it together. And I think that's why you see me being really active on social media, right? Because I learned that very, very early in my career. When I was at Climb, we were known as that brokerage that was really sort of innovative. And so, I've been on social a really long time because it has the most impact. Right? You see me sort of sharing our news. You see us sharing new videos about our new franchisees announcements. We have one every week. Like we've had Hawaii, we've had Malaysia, we've had, we've grown everywhere from Florida to Oregon and from Montana to New Jersey, right? Right here in Colorado, Denver, Colorado. So we've got so many great stories to share. And I'm using social media as a way to share those stories.
Yeah. And it's so fascinating to me because we have just a small piece of the overall pie at Remax, but I get quite overwhelmed sometimes with even the number of agents that we have, because I feel like, but man, what a great example you're giving me today on this show and by what you're doing. Why am I as a broker owner not at one of our agents listings highlighting it? I mean, how simple would that be? Right. I mean,
yeah.
And you're doing it for, I'm so embarrassed. Like you're doing it for the whole.
Don't be embarrassed. I know you're going to have Daniel Dennis, who's a lot of fun, but I've gotten to know him, for many years. I have great respect for the work that he did at when he was president of Illustrated Properties. But one of the things I told him is that, he's in Palm Beach County. He's got some of the most extraordinary properties in the world. And he was doing videos from the studio. And I said, Daniel, you got to get out. You've got the best. Everybody wants to see how people live in Palm Beach, right? So yeah. It was really funny. So it's never too late for you to get out and start seeing, because you've got some beautiful properties in South Carolina. As you're an incoming state. Everybody's moving to the Carolinas from the tri-state area, from the Midwest, from the West, for the weather, the culture, the food, the people. And so, yeah, you should be proud of where you live. I love where you are.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I guess we all take for granted what we have sometimes. That you said gratitude, that's a big deal for me. So thank you for mentioning that. Talk a minute just for me about the Linnegers. You mentioned a minute ago your respect for them. I don't know how anyone couldn't have respect for them unless you've gone face to face in competition with him and you lost. You might not love it, but there's a long list of those. But how incredible is it from my perspective that you have a living legend still involved? Is there anyone more passionate? And I mean, he's built something that no one else has ever built. And how cool is it for you to be a part of that legacy? Let's talk about that for just a minute, if you don't mind.
It's so important. I love founder-led companies. Because I was a founder of my own company, which I, was acquired and sold. And so I know how important it is when the founder is involved. I actually remember when Remax moved into New Jersey for the very first time and seeing those Remax signs and having my mom, who's an agent at an independent, say, oh my God, this is like a big deal, right? Remax has moved into our hometown, and it was quickly number one, and it was the home of the top producer. So that's always been my memory of Remax, as the home of the top producer, the very best agents, the most trusted, the most professional, working with the Remax brand. And so every day, that's what I wake up and think about. That's what I want to get to. And so being able to work with Dave, he's still involved in the company. It's really important. It's part of our DNA. It's part of who we are. But he's the original entrepreneur, right? And so that's what I'm very proud of, because it's something that I take very seriously. I consider myself an entrepreneur as well. And so to be able to work alongside his vision is really, it's such an honor.
And I wonder maybe I should have the courage to ask him to be on the show, because I'd love to ask him, how does he?
You should. He would. He loves this network.
You cheerleading with me. Maybe we can get him on. But how does he feel about this renaissance? Or he wouldn't even call it that, because he's got a very specific way of doing things. And I wonder if he's proud. I wonder if he's sad a little bit. I just wonder how he feels daily about the changes, because he has to be. I mean, it has to let go a little bit, like open his hands and say, it's time for this, right?
That's right. Yeah. I think, every entrepreneur, it's hard, right? Because it's your baby. He created this, and we're all the beneficiaries of all of his hard work and his drive and his success, but also some of his failures along the way. Right. And so that is definitely our DNA. It's who we are here. But I think he's really excited. I mean, he found out about Hawaii and that expansion in the entire state. And he was like, great job, Chris. This is exactly how he sees us going. So I think he just sees it as being the next iteration of our 52-year-old history. And this is the next chapter. So yeah, I don't think there's any sadness. I think, that, this company is this network. It's a breathing, living thing. It's a culmination of all of us. Right. And this is a new iteration of who we are. And this is Remax.
That's great. Someone said to me a few years ago, a competitor said, Blockbuster waited too long.
That's right.
Sears waited too long. A couple of other examples I could use. They had opportunities to invigorate and change. And I don't like the word pivot because I think it's been overused since COVID, but pivot. And I feel like we're in the middle of us not being that guy or gal. Is that how it feels?
Oh, we are.
And maybe
it's when you are here
past it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. When you're here, you could feel it. Right. And I think it all starts with Erik Karlsson. Right. I mean, his history, his experience is so relevant in leading us forward. And it's one of the things that attracted me to Remax was, he is a classically trained Fortune 200 CEO. Every day we come in, there's a strategy house, there's a vital few, the initiatives, the mission, the goals. It's very clear for the entire executive leadership team. And it's really great, because as realtors and real estate entrepreneurs, we're independent contractors. We, sort of create our own schedule. We do our own thing. And so to get the opportunity to work with someone who's led a company, very similar actually to what we're doing here in real estate, was a huge draw for me.
Yeah, that's great. And I've been saying for months, I can't wait until Inman or Risk Media or some of the other talking people out there pay attention to this guy, because he's got experience, maybe not real estate experience, but we could learn a lot from this guy, and so could everybody else if they just step back and take a minute to listen. So I'm excited to see him get a little bit more. I recently had a little bit more traction with Inman, and I'm happy about that. I came to the R201, Recruiting 201 out in Denver a few months ago, and I had a chance to talk with him, and that was one of the things I said, dude, you're way smart. You got to get in front of the right people. And as soon as you do, it's going to make a difference. And his footprint is clear. So I appreciate you saying that. Give me some advice as we go into the last part of the show here. I'm a broker owner in the network. I want you to, if you can, from your perspective as the chief growth officer, tell me maybe the top one or two or three things you want me to do to help you accomplish this mission.
Right. I mean, that's a great question. I would say the first thing is to lean into our tools, lean into the brand, lean into our team, right? We are really changing fundamentally what Remax looks like. And so I think, sometimes when there's a brand that there's been a lot of legacy, I think it's really leaving that behind and giving us and our team the opportunity to show you what's possible. And I think we had a huge breakthrough at Broker Owner Conference. And so I think it's just one thing. It's very simple. Lean into what we're doing, lean into the opportunities that are available, right? We've got Travis Saxon, who you'll talk to. He is incredible. I'm so grateful to work with him every single day. I will say that I got here first. So, but I've spent every day trying to keep up with him because he is so passionate. He's excited. He's bringing innovation here at Remax in a big way. So I think it's for broker owners. It's really leaning into what he's doing. Get involved in the innovation groups. Really be open to marketing as a service, lead concierge, right? All the different things that we're doing. Lean into our team. Daniel Dennis is an incredible operator. He's the youngest CEO at Berkshire Hathaway. He's the former president of Illustrated Properties. He knows brokerages. He knows how to run profitable brokerages. And so he's going to be leading our service team, which is really going to be out there to really think about how we provide service to our owners. Right? How do we help you get profitability? How do you make changes? How do you recruit? How do you grow? Right? And then my job is to really provide visibility to our agents, right? Create that network that is so strong. Our 9,000 offices, all of our agents. You are in the South, right? You are so lucky because you're an inbound state. So many people are coming from our network, their clients, and are moving to North Carolina, South Carolina, right? So how do you lean in? How do you meet? If people are moving from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, who do you know in that market? What agents do you know? What broker owners do you know, right? Because here's the thing, they're going to sell that home before they buy a home in South Carolina. Who do you know in the Midwest? Who are you tapping into? Who from California, Texas? Those are your big markets, right? Lean into the network, get to know the other broker owners, get to know the other agents, because that is where the magic happens.
Yeah, great. I love that encouragement. I love it that you just gave me one thing, because that's about what my brain can handle. Leaning in requires, this is the interesting dynamic for me, and part of the reason we're doing this, because leaning in requires trust. And when, in our, and I'm going to talk to my peers, because a bunch of, there's, you don't know this, maybe Daniel knows this, maybe you know this after BOC and you've said it. There's a groundswell of broker owners that are cheerleaders that I've never seen before. Yeah. And somewhere the trust has been bridged. Like, we haven't always been a trusting group. And I'm going to challenge my broker owner peers out there. If you're sitting on the fence, if you're doubting, you can stand back and watch and follow, or you can follow our lead and do exactly what this young man is talking about. Because I really believe leaning in, although it requires trust, you guys have proven yourselves already. And when we lean in, it makes us all better. It makes Chris better. It makes our brokerage better. You were saying some things, Chris. My next question was going to be like, what would you say is one thing an agent needs to do? Because ultimately we're trying to get an impact with the public, right? With the consumer. So through us, through you to us, to our agents, now to the consumer, what does an agent need to do? And I bet your answer is going to be lean in. But tell me, how do I help my agent lean in?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a great question. I think the thing that I do is, because I've sold real estate for so long, the first thing I'm doing is building a world-class listing presentation. I think it was a big miss. It was something that we hadn't had. I think I'm a big believer in digital, but I'm also a big believer in the physical presentation, right? So what you're going to see me sort of delivering is a world-class listing presentation, right? And a process, and a coaching process from start to finish. How do you win more listings, right? Because that's a big directive. And so that's what I'm doing for agents. And that's really, I'm asking those agents to lean in to the brand new listing presentation that we're unveiling here in the fall.
Okay, that's exciting. I did, one of our owners, Rennie, was there with you guys in DC, and she brought home the hardbound white book, classy. Like, we've had a lot of things in our hands over the years, but that was a really good one, Chris, and we're excited to get involved. And I think it's just so neat that you are here. You are at the top of, if you say, well, we'll say Eric's at the top, right? We'll give him that. But, and I will, by the way, tell you, I'll make sure Travis knows that you were first. You're on the show first.
Yeah.
And you were at Remax first.
Exactly. Make that very clear. Because I feel like I'm just trying to stay, like, he's like the Energizer buddy, right? So it's like, I'm just trying to keep up with him, but I think I'm holding my own. So yeah, we do different things. So it's good. We make a good team.
I was told that good luck. Somebody told me that good luck keeping up with him, because he's like the Energizer Bunny, like, we're way ahead of most of us. But I'm fascinated. I think it's really cool that you are in the position that you are. And the first thing that was on your radar was to get with agents. Yeah. It's so amazing. And I'm a broker owner. It's like you just went from, and they need that. I think they need to know. And I don't think they understand who you are yet, like what you're doing yet.
I think they were shocked when I showed up at these open houses. I think people were like, who are you? And it was very funny. I was in Dallas, and one of the very first ones, and the broker owner basically emailed corporate and was like, there's somebody who thinks that they're Chris Lim is showing up at an open house. And I said, no, actually that really is me. And I am genuinely interested in learning our network, learning what our agents need, and helping them. It's my passion. And I think it's a differentiator. I think it's what you're seeing that's been lacking for a long time. Is every day I wake up with one goal in mind. How do I help our agents succeed? How do I help our agents win more listings and our brokers help create profitability? And so when you have that very clear directive, it's very easy. It's very clear what I need to do. And so I just want to go back, it means a lot to me that you recognize that. And so, I don't expect people to, sometimes it's hard with when you expect people to sort of just accept what we're doing. I want to show you first. I want to show you what we're made of. I want to show you what we can do, so I'm not asking you to just trust me. I'm going to earn that trust. And so I want to make that really clear, because it was really nice that I think you've got a big heart. You see that, like you're leaning in and you're just seeing anecdotally what we're doing, but I want you and your agents to feel that, right? And to see that we're really delivering value to the network in ways that have been missing.
Yeah, you've done in reality, pragmatically, what I say a lot, but don't have the courage to do, quite transparently. Like when we do an acquisition of another, I remember standing up in a small acquisition we did, and they introduced us as their new owners. And the first thing I said was, here, I've got a room of 50 people. Nobody even knows who I am. And so what I said was, my desire is that you know, like, and trust me. But there's no way to get to trust without the other two. And you've done such a beautiful example of just bypassing the talk and going and doing it. Because you can't tell someone, hey, trust me, and it works.
I think this network has had a lot of talk, right? Yeah. And so we are delivering. That's the key, right? There's no more talk. There's just action, right? And that's what I'm asking you to just be open to and to lean in, is that, we're going to be delivering these tools, right? I mean, what Travis is doing, and Daniel and Don Kotick up in Canada, right? It's all part of, and Abby and James and, Susie and Carrie, we all have the same mission. And that's what's so great, is this team is really strong. And we have one thing in mind, right? How do we deliver for our network? That's all we focus on every single day.
Yeah, that's cool. So I'm going to ask you the last question, just kind of off the beaten path here. Tell me, like Brian Buffini did his bold predictions a few days ago. It was 3.5 hours long. I haven't seen it all yet. He had Michael Thorne, and I love Brian. I love Michael. They're both great. They've always been great. Brothers of the network. I've been there through all of it, right? What's coming for us, Chris, in real estate? Would you be bold enough to say what you think? I'm not going to ask you what the rates are going to be in December, but where do you think this industry and the buying and selling of real estate is headed, or is it so localized you can't really answer it?
Well, I mean, look, obviously, if I had a crystal ball, I would, I don't know, I probably would be a stockbroker. But what I will tell you is that, it's hard out there, right? Agents are really struggling. They really are. It's not been an easy market, right? And so I think the biggest opportunity is the one that's ahead of us. And right, so it's right now getting your house in order, right? How do you get your financial house in order? How do you get your CRM, right? How do you get your tools, your systems, your processes, right? Work on that, so that when the market does change, we do have more transaction volume, you're set. So it's a bit of a mindset. So I don't know that I have any predictions. I don't know I can do that. But what I can say is that your mindset defines everything, right? How you see things and how you prepare is paramount.
That's really interesting. I did a video this morning on that very thing and talking about perception versus reality. You've hit on a thing that really is near and dear to me. And you've said, I think 5 times on the show so far, that you get up with one thing in mind and you work hard to that one thing. And I think the simplicity of that, although it's complex, I know the simplicity of that singular focus, it doesn't matter what goes on outside of your influence. Like you walk out into a market, we call it. If you have that mindset, you can be effective in any marketplace, really any industry or any relationship or any whatever, if you have the ability to set your own mind on what you are about and stay above it. And I love that about you. You've already said that you're not affected by what's – so what if this is a terrible time, right? We're still crushing it. We're still going through the Renaissance. We're still seeing all of this amazing stuff coming from you guys and trickling down. We're still seeing you travel all around the world to honor our agents in their listings. What if it is a terrible market? Well, guess what? When it changes and gets better, it's going to be even that more glorious.
I think
right?
I think you have to have a singular focus, right?
Yeah.
If you have a singular focus on what you're doing, it's so difficult now, right? We've so many distractions, right? We've got social media and we've got the news and we've got the economy, and it's so easy to get sort of focused on all these different things that you can't control. And so what I try to do is focus on the thing I can control. That's how I show up. That's how I show up for my family. That's how I show up for my clients. That's how I show up for the network. I can control that, right? And so that's what I'm really focused on. And I will tell you, in my career, the biggest opportunities have been the biggest disruptions, right? So I started Climb Real Estate after 2008, arguably the worst financial crisis in the world. But I knew that was the time for me to open the doors on my brokerage, right? I, worked with App Properties and grew the App Properties franchise right during the beginning of the pandemic, because I knew that was the biggest opportunity for me to start something new. And that's the same opportunity right now. And so I think if you sort of refocused about what the opportunity is rather than what isn't happening, you're going to set yourself up for success every single time.
Yeah, love that. So two things to close out here. This first one's a joke. Who's the band for R4?
I actually know.
You better not reveal it on this show first, or you'll be in big trouble.
I know. It's so funny because at the last R4, I kept calling them One Direction, and it's not One Direction. It was One Republic. Yeah, and I was like, you know what? I'm the wrong guy because I'm going to say the wrong brand, and everyone's going to they're going to think we have One Direction when we had One Republic. So.
That's so funny. If you wanted to, we're not live, so it's just you and me. You can trust me.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding. It's been
Tom is shaking his head. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I understand. That's part of the reason I asked the question was for his benefit. Well, it's been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit. I want you to know that there's a network of people out here, and you've seen it, you saw it at BOC, but that is supportive and willing to lean in, willing to battle with you. My motto is the only way to lose is to quit. That's why we've been around for as long as we have and just plugging away and doing what we're doing. And I'm going to challenge based on what I've seen already. And I'm excited to get to know Travis, and I know Daniel a little bit, and Eric. I'm going to challenge the board to relax and let you guys do what you do, and give you all 6-year contracts and sign you up for the long haul, because we are ready to follow this. And I think I speak for a lot of people. So thank you so much, Chris, for your time. I appreciate you. And I can't wait till I get to shake your hand in person. If it's at a listing here, give me a little bit of a heads up. If it's not, then I'll see you at R4 with whatever band we have.
I'm going to show up at one of your listings, so don't be surprised.
Do yourself a favor and don't look for my listings, because I don't have any, but we have some good ones at our company.
Well, thank you. Thank you to the network. It's such an honor to be part of this incredible part of the Remax story. So thank you for all that you do too.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Chris. I'll talk to you real soon. Rise Up Nation, I hope you enjoyed this little talk with Chris Lim. Get to know a little bit more about him. Reach out to him. Show him your support, because as you see, he's a real human being doing hard work. Thanks, Rise Up Nation. Talk to you soon.